every minute. Now, tens of millions of Americans are turning off Fox and CNN and tuning in to Newsmax for the breaking information they really need to know. Reuters Institute says Newsmax is one of the top news brands in America. Find it yourself on all major cable systems and on your TV or smartphone store. Just download the Newsmax app for free and start watching. You'll get great shows with Rob Schmidt, Greta Van Susteren, Rob Finnerty, and Carl Higbie, and more. Find out why millions of Americans have made the switch. Even President Trump says Newsmax is terrific, and he's watching. So make the switch to Newsmax. Check us out on cable and satellite TV, or download the Newsmax app today. Watch us anytime, anywhere. Remember, Newsmax is real news for real people.
5.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Wall Street superstars tumbling as a competitor from China threatens to upend the artificial intelligence frenzy they've been feasting on. The S&P 500 fell 1.5%. Big tech stocks took some of the heaviest losses, with NVIDIA down nearly 17%. And they dragged the NASDAQ composite down 3.1%. Besides chip companies, utilities hoping to electrify power-hungry AI data centers also tumbled. A Chinese company called DeepSeek said it had developed a large language model that can compete with U.S. giants at perhaps a fraction of the cost. The Dow was up 289 points, closing at 44,713. The NASDAQ lost 612 to 19,341. The S&P 500 dropped 89 points to 6012. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clearing skies, a low temperature dipping down to 36. Tomorrow, wonderful. Sunshine-filled skies, a high of 62. While on Wednesday, even better. A dose of springtime, lots of sunshine, a high temperature reaching up to 69 degrees. We're mild the rest of the week. Rain coming back on Friday afternoon. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
The Point. The Point.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk Media Network on this Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. Good to be back with you. Chris Bergen is with us from the Bergie Palace after all his travels with Coastal Carolina. What a road trip that was. Not a very successful one. Tonight, USC women are on the road. They play at Tennessee, tipping off a little bit after 7 o'clock, coming off their win over LSU. They will not be traveling with their DJ from inside the – how about that deal? Did you see that, Bergie?
I did, and I have a lot of questions about that. But first and foremost, I didn't quite understand why Flaw J. Johnson would be upset about that, even if – and you know, she didn't know her father. Unfortunately, he passed away before she was born, and evidently was a musical star of some sort. And you know, my question would be for USC to ask, first off, did the DJ even know what song he was playing or she was playing, and were they trying to make fun of Flaw J? I just can't imagine that was the case. I think it's pure accident that it happened to occur.
Well, from what I read, the DJ put out something on X, and I think it's a she. It's a she
yeah, I
DJ.
think you're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think she was aware that Camouflage was the performer of the song. It was a famous song, apparently, that he did before he was murdered in Savannah. And back in, 2003, I think it was. We all turned to Wikipedia to look this stuff up. And so now, was it in some way a shot at her? I kind of agree with you. I don't know what
I can't imagine
what the hullabaloo over that would be. Why would you feel I mean, I don't know. It was the first song, I guess, that she played once the game was over. They had beaten LSU. She's on the LSU team. She's a star player. Was that an intentional shot at her in some way? I mean, I don't know. Or was it just coincidental that song came up in the disc jockey's rotation?
And is that something, and I haven't been to a Carolina women's basketball game at Colonial Life Arena in a long, long time, is that a song they normally play after games? And is that just their go-to?
Well,
because
I've got an answer to all of this. You could solve this problem very simply if you would simply play more George Strait instead of Camouflage. Now, maybe that's – I don't know, but I don't think a Strait song could get you in any trouble if you were to play one instead of Camouflage. So – I don't know.
Or here's a wild
I would have known
idea,
a thing about it unless USC put out this apology.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, whoa, what's that? Of course, I wasn't at the game because I was here during the show. And I'm like, what's this all about? And apparently it all became public notice when somebody who was at the game heard the song as they were leaving the arena and posted on social media something like, hey, not so cool to be playing Camouflage after they beat LSU. I don't know. That's a whole different world to me. But South Carolina apparently felt the need to offer an apology and suspend the DJ for the next home game. So they will either have a substitute DJ or they will go DJ-less.
There's an idea. You mean actually let, like, I don't know, the pep band play at college games? That's a novel idea.
Yeah, that used to be the way it was, but not no more. So anyway, that seemed to be the big thing of the day when that came out, yesterday I think it was. But the South Carolina women going to Tennessee looking to extend all of their various winning streaks, winning streak against Tennessee, a winning streak on the road, a winning streak on the regular season, a winning streak in SEC games, a winning streak against SEC games on the road, and a winning streak against ranked teams. All those are extended winning streaks. Meantime, how about Clemson basketball? I don't understand the lack of respect from the AP voters when it comes to Clemson basketball. Is the fact that they're in a very poor ACC this year being held against them? They can't see the record that Clemson has. They're 8-1. They win on the road. They win at home. They win when their best player is ill. They win when their second best player is playing hurt. They go deep on their bench. What is it with AP voters and they just can't get over the hump when it comes to putting Clemson back in the top 25? They were in there briefly.
Yeah.
And then after they lost to Louisville, they fell out. Well, I think Louisville's pretty doggone good, and they played up at Louisville. So what's the deal?
I don't know, Phil, and that's why I wrote in the story today. They're like Rodney Dangerfield. You know, he used to always talk about, I get no respect. That's exactly what they're doing. I don't know what else Clemson has to do, and I kind of joked in the story that they may have to win out just to get inside the top 25 in the Associated Press. I mean, it is phenomenal, and it doesn't seem the ACC being down doesn't seem to hurt Duke. Now, I'm not saying Duke's not worthy of being a top 2 or 3 team. I think they are, but it doesn't seem to hurt them anywhere close to the way that the Associated Press writers are holding this against Clemson for some reason. Clemson is clearly a top 25 team. Everybody sees it, including the coaches who put them back in the poll this week. But for some reason, the Associated Press does not like Brad Brownell. Don't know if they don't like his haircut. They don't respect the play of Chase Hunter. They don't understand just how talented Ian Shefflin really is, and considering the injuries he's dealing with. I don't get it, because to me, I look at them, I look what they've done. Yeah, the South Carolina loss keeps getting worse and worse by the day. But other than that, I mean, Memphis in overtime, lose at Louisville, who I think is really, really good. And I think Pat Kelsey's in line to be ACC Coach of the Year. So, I mean, aside from those hiccups, I don't get it at all. I really don't.
Yeah. Now, South Carolina, I was at the game Saturday. Yeah, it was Saturday at that game. And, nothing against the Gamecocks from an effort standpoint or a want-to standpoint. There's no question. They want to win. There's no question that they're playing hard, but they just don't play smart. They just can't do, I'll say can't, not won't. They just can't do the little things that win basketball games. And when you do it over and over again, I think it also becomes a mental thing with you to some degree. I think you start expecting to lose instead of looking for ways to win. I mean, turnovers. They had 19 turnovers. They had 5 turnovers in overtime. They had so many just ridiculously easy situations. You had Nick Pringle on a breakaway for a sure bucket, and he loses the ball out of bounds. You had Pringle on a layup that spun out, and he touched it for an offensive goaltending. Should have been 2 more points. At the very end, they get an offensive rebound with a chance to, I think this was in regulation, with a chance to win, and they throw it out of bounds. Just over and over and over. And this is, this has been through several games now, through this losing streak in the SEC. They just don't make the winning plays. That's what it boils down to. And I think the root of it is truly the lack of a take-charge leader point guard. Not to take anything away from Jamari Thomas, who came back from his knee injury and was playing hurt. No question, he had a brace on his knee. Still went out and gave him 19 points. The guy can score, but he's not a point guard. For example, I'm watching Tennessee-Auburn, and that game's tied. It's in the final seconds. Tennessee is pressing Auburn. They get the ball to the Auburn point guard's name escapes me. What does he do? He puts his head down against the press and takes it up the court by himself, fully confident of his ball handling and passing skills, gets fouled, and makes the free throws. And that's another thing. Now, the Gamecocks did make some free throws on Saturday, but didn't, they still ended up losing the game in overtime. And they had 5 turnovers in overtime. That's a turnover a minute. Yeah, that's just
just can't.
So I don't know what the
turnovers.
I think they've run out of. I think they got more questions than they have answers to, and it certainly looks like they could go winless in the SEC, which is just mind-boggling to think that's the case. I really feel bad for the transfer from Missouri, kid out of Greenville, because didn't Missouri go winless in the SEC last year? Or maybe won one game? They either went winless or won one game. And my point is, now he's at South Carolina, transferred to South Carolina, Jordan Butler I'm talking about, and now he's sitting on the bench at South Carolina, and he's watching the same thing. They haven't won an SEC game yet, and they got to go to Georgia tomorrow night, and Georgia got blistered by Florida.
Yeah.
But they're better than that. That'll be tough. And then they got Texas A&M. They went winless.
0-18 last year.
Yeah. So poor Jordan Butler has sat through, 18 consecutive regular season losses at Missouri, and then where are the Gamecocks now? 0-7?
6.
No, 0-7. 0-7. That's 25 straight regular season losses.
That's just cruel.
Yeah.
And you look at what Carolina has done over the last couple of weeks, Phil. Almost 4 of their last 5 games by 3 points or fewer.
Yeah.
They had no business being in the game at Vanderbilt. I won't give them credit for that. You turn it over 50 times in a game, you deserve to lose. But the Florida game, of all of that, there was no business losing that game. They should have knocked off Florida. They were the better team for 39 minutes of that game. They just can't find, as you pointed out, they cannot find a way.
Doink. Somebody pulled the plug on Berge. You're right. They just can't find a way to finish the deal. The
Carolina football team did after those close losses to LSU game and all those sort of stacking up. Do what?
we lost you there, and now it's trying to catch up. That's digital audio trying to catch up. Are you back with us?
All right. Let me know if you've caught up with my speed talking.
Yeah, that was funny as heck.
Anyway, what I was saying was they had no business losing to Florida. They were the better team for 39 minutes, and they ultimately found a way to lose that game. And until they take the same approach that the football team did, after all those narrow losses, they finally went to Shane Beamer and said, enough is enough. We're tired of this. We're going to win out. And that's exactly what they did. Until the players take full responsibility for this and say enough is enough, Gamecock fans are going to have to deal with these fairly close ball games that they continue to play. They just can't find a way to win. They've got to have somebody step up and make some plays down the stretch.
Yeah, that's what it amounts to. Got to have – and, again, they've got a terrific player, of course, in Colin Murray-Boyles. I don't like him shooting three-pointers. I don't know if for his professional career if standing outside is what's going to make him an NBA player. I don't think he's an NBA player just yet, but, I mean, I'm sure they look at different things and what I see. I just look at the bottom line, and is your team winning, and what are you doing to help the team win? And I think, standing outside, I think that, putting him inside and running things through the post, he's a very difficult back-to-the-basket offensive player to defend because he has quick moves. Why not put him into the post and run a double post with Murray-Boyles and Pringle and run some cuts off of these guys, run some offense through the middle instead of relying so much on the three-point shooting. Basketball needs to go the way that football's going now. You notice it might be a quiet movement, but it's happening, and that is more of a reliance on the running game in football. And look at the Eagles, prime example. But look around college football. Look what South Carolina did, relying on the running game with the quarterback and the running back, and look all around the NFL and college football. The running back has come back. People will tell you that the running back has come back. Well, it's time for basketball to bring back the post. It's time for basketball to quit relying on analytics and figuring that, if we go 3 out of 10 on threes, well, that's better than going, 4 out of 7 on twos. I don't know what the math works out there off the top of my head.
Right.
But you get my point. All this reliance on three-point shooting when you're giving up better 15-footers and shots in the lane and giving up on your big men inside to rely on long threes. And, I mean, if you make them, that's great. But, I just think that there's an opportunity there for some teams if they go back and focus on winning inside with big men playing inside. There's a chance there to win games at the expense of your outside shooting. And South Carolina's got 2 really good bigs. Why not emphasize these guys inside and get them the basketball?
Well, you would be a unicorn right now, and you would be different. And you would, I think, be difficult to deal with because teams would have to start figuring out a way, all right, how do we handle 2 big guys inside who are physical and are going to score and get on the glass as well? I mean, Murray-Boyles is almost averaging a double-double. Yeah, your point about his three-point shooting is pretty spot on. I mean, for a team that only shoots 33%, it'd be one thing if you're shooting about 36, 37% from three-point range and you're reliant on the three. That makes sense. But when you're below 35% as a team and you've got a guy who's shooting 59% from the field and just 5 of 17 from three-point range, maybe you ought to feed him a little bit closer to the basket.
Yeah, that's what I would do. And find me a daggum point guard. Can't be that hard. I mean, you got to have somebody on the bench who can handle the press, dribble, and pass without panicking and throwing the ball away. Somebody, maybe the hero kid. I mean, he's got to do something. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Certainly Cam Scott has not showed them that he can play yet at this level. So this is sort of a wasted year for him with, again, I like to point out all the hype and all the star ratings don't necessarily mean immediate stardom. Now, maybe down the road with some work and development, he'll get there, but not the immediate impact that they had hoped for when he joined the program this year. So coming up tonight, along with your phone calls at 888-898-2525. That is, of course, the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number for you here on Sports Talk. And we'll take plenty of your calls coming off the weekend with the Super Bowl now set. We'll hear from Shane Beamer, who talked with the media during halftime of the basketball game. Good stuff, some good detailed stuff. We'll have that for you. And Brad Brownell. Tigers are off this week, but he talked to the media today on the ACC conference call. We'll bring you that as well. Sports Talk Monday night. Be right back.
Happy New Year. 2025 is here, and that means it's time to get your finances back on track. With Founders Federal Credit Union, you can manage your debt like a pro this year. Consolidate any high-interest debt with a personal loan from Founders. Debt consolidation offers several advantages like simplified payments, lower interest rates, fixed interest rates, and extended payment terms. It may even improve your credit score or even help you avoid default. So simplify and possibly reduce your payments by consolidating your debt. At Founders, we have personal loans to fit your needs, whether you need a little or you need a lot. Plus, our loan officers will work with you on your payment terms and help you find a solution that fits your budget. So stop by one of our locations or visit foundersfcu.com/personal loans to apply for a personal loan today. Relax. You're with Founders. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the SCHSL and the South Carolina Athletic Administrators Association.
We are back on Sports Talk, 888-898-2525. Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen and Josh Cohen. Again, the number, 888-898-2525. Our Sports Talk text line number is 803-900-4847. Also, of course, send us a text. If you're watching us on our Facebook stream or YouTube stream, feel free to communicate with us that way as well. We've got our, we've got the blue check. For those of you who've been following along with our Twitter/X issues, we have started a new one, SC Sports Now. SC Sports Now, if you haven't followed us, feel free to do so. And we got the prestigious blue check, not by the fact that we've done anything to warrant it, we just paid for it. You know, that's the thing about Elon Musk. I mean, the guy sweats dollar bills. I mean, I can't tell you what he does with dollar bills. It just, you know. Now, previously, Twitter, when it was first created and until it was sold, it was a free social media service. There was no charge for anything that I recall. Mm-hmm. It was free. Now, they made money off of advertising, of course. Right. Now, of course, Musk has come in. Not only is he making money off of advertising, but he's charging you, and you have to even pay the minimum of $8 a month just to have the regular access. I mean, that's nothing special. That just gives you the regular access so you can not be limited as to the number of tweets you can make or read on a given day. So, and then you get your blue check. Once your check clears, they give you a blue check. I think that's how that works. So our check is cleared. Now, our ones that were suspended, did they have the blue checks? Oh, they
yeah, because we paid for all of them.
Yeah, so we're not safe yet, as far as we know. But we're up and running, so feel free to give us a follow, SC Sports Now. Our poll question of the week is on our Twitter. It's also on our Facebook, and it is brought to you by the Larry Lucas Insurance Agency. Call Larry at 803-799-1998, 803-799-1998. And to football we go. Where should Clemson be ranked in the 2025 preseason AP Football Top 25? Not where you think they will be ranked. Where should they be ranked, in your opinion? Top 5, 6 through 10, 11 through 15, or 16 through 20? I think their expectations over there are they're going to be a top 5 team in the preseason poll. But where should they be ranked based on what we know about the team, what's coming back, what they've added to it? You think top 5 is too much to give them, or is top 5 about right for them going into 2025?
I don't know how you watch them this past year and think they're going to improve that much where they're a top 5 team to contend with somebody as talented as, say, Ohio State and Notre Dame that we saw in the championship game last week. I think they should start. I don't know that they will. I think they probably should start ranked between 10 and 15.
Oh, that low?
That's about where they finished.
You think that low, huh?
I mean, if you're what are you basing it on?
Well, you're basing it on the return of a quarterback who is outstanding. Right. You can't take anything away from Cade Klubnik.
I agree with you.
You base it on an offensive line that returns pretty much intact. All those receivers are coming back, and they're adding to it with a transfer. The defensive line is basically coming back intact, and Parker, you figure he's going to have a great junior year after really coming on last year. They have Capehart coming back to help them in the middle. They got a couple of young guys ready to step up. They're finally probably going to get Peter Woods in the right place. Linebackers, now they lose Barrett Carter, but Woodaz is back. Anderson is back. Creighton is back. I mean, that might be, Sammy Brown. They got Sammy Brown. It'd be Sammy Brown and Woodaz at linebacker. And I guess they feel like that's going to be really, really good. The back
and they're probably right, but it's the same team, basically, that finished the year, ranked 12th, 13th, right?
Yeah. Kicker's great.
So that's sort of my point.
They got the great kicker. They got to replace their punter, but they got the great kicker. So I get your point, but now the running back situation, who's going to be
is a mess, isn't it?
Well, I mean, they just don't know who it's going to be yet, to be honest with you. I guess they're hoping that this incoming freshman, Gideon Davidson, is going to be the answer. He's a kid out of Virginia with a lot of acclaim. And he's been committed to them for a couple of years. So he might be the answer. Or maybe the answer is already on campus, or Dabo Swinney might look into that transfer portal, John, when it opens up in the spring to see if there's a running back available. He probably won't, but he might take a look. Okay, bottom of the hour break. We'll be back to your phone calls and more.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clearing skies, a low temperature dipping down to 36. Tomorrow, wonderful. Sunshine-filled skies, a high of 62. While on Wednesday, even better. A dose of springtime, lots of sunshine, a high temperature reaching up to 69 degrees. We're mild the rest of the week. Rain coming back on Friday afternoon. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
If you step onto H&J Cattle Company's farm, you'll find third-generation farmers upholding the legacy. They embrace sustainability and take immense pride in their craft, raising cattle purely on nature's offerings, without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. The result? Unmatched quality beef that's not just good, it's the best in South Carolina. Experience the distinct flavor of our finest registered Hereford and Wagyu beef. Visit us online at hdjcattle.co or on Instagram and Facebook at H&J Cattle CO.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have streamed into heavily destroyed northern Gaza in their first chance to return since the early weeks of the 15-month war with Hamas. Meanwhile, Israel says 8 of the hostages to be freed in the weeks ahead are dead. A fragile ceasefire has entered a second week. A frenzy over an artificial intelligence chatbot made by Chinese tech startup DeepSeek was upending stock markets Monday and fueling debates over the economic and geopolitical competition between the U.S. and China and developing AI technology. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 289 points, the Nasdaq dropped 612, the S&P lower by 88, oil dropped to $73.06 a barrel. This is SRN News.
So who needs broker solar? Well, it's the homeowner or the business owner that want to take some control of their own power bills. It's the family that decides clean solar is the path for them. Or maybe it's the church or nonprofit that wants to save some big dollars for their cause. Is it you? Maybe it's time you wake up to all Broker Solar can do for you. You have to let Ken and his team be your ultimate guide in what is pretty complex, this solar world. Make no mistake, solar energy is not for everyone. Despite what the scammers and door-knocking liars tell you, it is not free. It's a significant investment, but it has significant returns. From home installations to solar farms, Broker Solar can personalize your solar solution by meeting your needs and your budget. Their menu includes everything from full-scale solar on your roof or land and even battery backups for those pesky power outages that we've all endured. Visit brokersolar.com, stick it to the utility companies while also bathing in the sunny side of savings. Brokersolar.com, giving you the power instead of leaving you feeling powerless.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, blue plate menu featuring country cooking, oven baked hoagies, fresh crisp salads, authentic Greek food like gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee-Ball, Bass Wheel, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks y'all and God bless.
Imagine a cooler home this summer and a warmer one during winter without the sky-high power costs. Redbird Windows and Doors offers you the solution with our state-of-the-art energy-efficient windows and doors. Locally operated, we promise a hassle-free experience with our expert team handling everything from consultation to installation and doing so flawlessly. Upgrade your home's comfort and cut down those energy bills. Visit redbirdwindows.com or call us 727-0561 today. Redbird Windows and Doors. Local experience matters.
Happy New Year. 2025 is here, and that means it's time to get your finances back on track. With Founders Federal Credit Union, you can manage your debt like a pro this year. Consolidate any high-interest debt with a personal loan from Founders. Debt consolidation offers several advantages like simplified payments, lower interest rates, fixed interest rates, and extended payment terms. It may even improve your credit score or even help you avoid default. So simplify and possibly reduce your payments by consolidating your debt. At Founders, we have personal loans to fit your needs, whether you need a little or you need a lot. Plus, our loan officers will work with you on your payment terms and help you find a solution that fits your budget. So stop by one of our locations or visit foundersfcu.com/personal loans to apply for a personal loan today. Relax. You're with Founders. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Touchdowns to three-point shots, we've got it all, tying the knots, bringing you the latest scoop. Sports Talks, the absolute truth. Sports Talk's the place to be. From the court to the field, we're breaking news free. Join the team, follow X for more. We're taking over, that's for sure.
Bum, 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 bum. Now, you see, if you play this inside any arena, you're not going to upset people.
No, true.
That's not going to upset anybody, and you're not going to have people yelling. You're not going to have to put out an apology for hurting somebody's feelings for whatever reason. All right, we're back. Sports Talk Media Network. And our phone number, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. To your phone calls in just a moment. Here on Sports Talk, we're going to hear from Shane Beamer coming up, and also from Brad Brownell. Plus, we'll talk about the Super Bowl. Who you got? I like the Eagles. Give me the Eagles.
Really?
Yeah, I like the Eagles. I mean, the running game, Saquon Barkley is just at another level. Their offensive line is fantastic. Jalen Hurts is not hurt, so that's good. You cannot stop them from converting anything third or fourth and short, which was one of the most one of the most fascinating scenes I think I've ever seen in football is what happened down at the goal line, where they were doing the tush push which should be outlawed, by the way.
Brotherly shove, that's against the spirit of the game.
They got to take that out. They got to take that out. But anyway, I love what the the Commanders. What's that linebacker's name?
It's Luvu. It's Frankie Luvu.
Luvu, yeah.
Panther.
Yeah, trying to time it up, and he was just giving. He was giving his all. He was giving up his body. He was diving over the offensive line. He said, at the very least, I'm going to get my shots in. If I don't stop him, I'm going to get my shots in. And it reached the point where the referee came up and said, we've warned Washington, if you continue this, we will award Philadelphia a touchdown.
Did you know that was in the rule book?
No, I didn't know that was in the rule book.
I had no idea. And props to the officials. Somebody had to let them know that was in the rule book, because I can't imagine that they knew that right off the top of their head. If you continually try to make basically an illegal play on defense right around the goal line, that ultimately you could award the other team a touchdown, which I think is insane, but I get it.
Yeah. Well, kudos to them. Good thing to do, and great. I mean, great drama, and the football was how far off of the goal line? It had to be like a millimeter. I've never seen a football so close to touching the line without going over. Anyway, I like the Eagles, and you like the who?
I love the Eagles. I want them to win. I just don't know how you beat Kansas City. I think Buffalo had the best opportunity to do so, because I think Buffalo is almost as, if not more so, talented than Kansas City. They just I look at Josh Allen, Phil, and when I think of him, I think of Phil Mickelson. Because you know how great a golfer Phil Mickelson is. The reason he is not in the upper echelon of majors is a guy named Tiger Woods. Same thing here for Josh Allen. He should have 2-3 Super Bowls, I think, underneath his belt. Yeah. Problem is, he has come along at the same time as maybe one of the greatest quarterbacks that we've ever seen this side of Tom Brady. And he just can't get past him. And his coach didn't help. And let me jump back on my soapbox again. Buffalo, how you feeling about that 2-point conversion late in the second quarter in a game that you didn't need to go start chasing points, and you ultimately lose by 3? Fascinating had the game played out the way it did. Had you kicked the extra point then, kicked the extra point when you scored again instead of going for 2, that field goal that Kansas City kicked late would have actually tied the game, not won it.
Yeah, chasing points, man. We're seeing too many coaches chasing points in all levels of football. I don't know what's gotten into them. Chasing first downs and chasing points. They're playing, well, I don't want to say reckless, but they're playing loosey-goosey out there with the way they approach things these days. All right, so I like the Eagles. You like the Chiefs?
I'll go Kansas City.
All right, and we'll take calls throughout the next couple of weeks.
Begrudgingly.
Yeah. Well, listen, Kansas City has lived a charmed life, but they're good because they win because they're good. And they win because they know how to get the right people in the right place at the right time. And, I mean, who was the guy that sealed it for him yesterday? It was P. Ryan. He made 2 great plays, 2 great runs to kill the clock on their last possession. I say win it for him. I mean, he was, he's not a guy that throughout the game was somebody that you would think was going to have a big moment or two, but he did there at the right time. And they ran that third down pass to him to get the first down. That was a thing of beauty. I mean, you had him in man coverage. You had a linebacker on him. That's an impossible cover. And he gets the first down and seals the win when all they needed to do was get a stop and get the ball back for a chance. So Kansas City, you give them their props because they're so well coached and they've just got the right players in the right place. And we got to see Kelsey and Taylor Swift really have a big-time smooch.
Get ready for 2 weeks of Taylor Swift.
That was really – I wonder if that thing got a little serious there as they were locked. Lips were locked there for a few – how many seconds were their lips locked? Did you time it? Did you put a clock on that?
I did not.
What was I'm going to ask, what was the over-under on the lip locking there?
That'll be a prop bet, don't you think, come next Sunday?
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the one they just had, I'm talking about just the one they just had. My goodness. Well, I'm just glad to see those kids are having a good time with their lives. That's, I worry about them. I'm glad to see that they're having a good time. So I want to mention that where can you go for a good time? Where can you go for a good time? The beach. The beach, of course, is where you can go here in South Carolina for a good time. And Jimmy Smith is the man who can show you a good time by getting you in the right residence. If you only have a couple of people, You want to go down to the beach for a week or so, maybe you just need a condo. But if you got a crowd of, say, 8 or 10 or 12, and you need more room, you need 4, 5, 6 bedrooms, he's got his hands on that property as well. So if you're making plans for your summer vacation or a spring getaway, give Jimmy a call and work with him. He'll work with you and find the right place. The phone number is 843-237-4246 or online at pauliesvacationrentals.com. Don't delay because you'll miss out on all the good stuff. Okay, let's go to Ron in Greenville. First caller of the week. Ron, welcome
do you get
in.
any kind of money for
How
that?
you doing?
Good. You get any kind of money for that?
Any kind of money for what?
Being the first caller.
No, you get a attaboy. Attaboy, Ron.
Okay. Well, I guess you got a big basketball game tonight for South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Tennessee is – I know they're nationally ranked, but they've got 4 league losses. They are playing at home. Will South Carolina have a hangover from the LSU game, or are they seriously focused enough to go game to game and take on the next opponent? I think it's the latter. I think that they'll be focused and realize that stepping into Knoxville and playing in that arena is still a difficult task, and they better be at their best. So, but I think they will win. I think they're the better team. What do you think?
And I'm taking Tennessee. Yeah, I think Tennessee will win.
Why?
I think South Carolina might be a little tired from LSU giving them such a hard time tonight.
The
LSU.
Just seeing a story here on the viewership for South Carolina LSU put out by ESPN PR, and second most watched women's basketball game this season, 841,000 viewers, and they peaked at 1.1 million, fourth most watched game across all networks this season for South Carolina and LSU. I'm sorry, go ahead, Ron.
Well, University of South Carolina is a women's basketball school, so all the Carolina fans need to get fired up and get yourself ready to watch the game on TV.
Oh, they'll be watching, and they'll be excited.
You got Chris there with you?
Say again?
You got Chris there?
Chris, are you there?
I'm here. I am here.
Chris, can you look up and see what the line on this game is? Tennessee and South Carolina.
I can. Without looking, I'm going to guess Gamecocks by about 8, but let's see.
Gamecocks by 8, okay.
Yeah. Chris is our guy that's addicted to gambling, so he can certainly help you with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're asking the right person here, Ron, for sure.
Next time you go to Harris, come by and pick me up.
You got it.
Did you find it?
I'm pulling up a story about it right now. Give me just a second. I know this is awesome. Gamecocks heavy favorites by 11.5.
Ooh, 11.5, yeah.
Gamecocks are favored by 11.5.
11.5, yes, Ron. Sir. Better get your, you know what? Get your bets in. Or also, I hope that you have taken us up on our information about underdog fantasy and taking advantage of that. Have you done that?
No, I'll tell you what. If Carolina's favored by 11.5, they will win tonight.
Well, speaking of that, and thank you, Ron. Speaking of that and Underdog Fantasy, let me tell you that the offerings at Underdog Fantasy, they do run deep, and they include major women's college basketball matchups. Ron, I hope you and the rest are listening. You can head over to UnderdogFantasy.com right now and place an entry on Tahina Pow Pow, higher or lower than 10.5 points in tonight's game at Tennessee. So you can do that. You can go higher or lower on Tahina Pow Pow, 10.5 points. I don't know. That's kind of a sucker bet in that they're so balanced, Chris. You never know game to game, and they get so much off their bench. They rely so much on their bench for scoring. You never know game to game which of the starters are going to step up and have a big game.
No, and their bench has just been phenomenal, and they haven't lost a beat. And since the UCLA game, they've been a different team. I mean, they're just playing at an unbelievably high level. And to give you an idea, part of the reason that they are favored by double digits at Tennessee, under Dawn Staley in SEC road games, they're 97-33.
Sure.
I mean, it's impossible as it is to beat them in Columbia, which it is. It's getting that way when they go on the road. I mean, they're just as good a basketball team away from home as they are at home. And props to Gamecock fans. I mentioned last week I was wondering if the start time on a Friday would affect the attendance. Good grief, boy, I couldn't have been more wrong. I mean, they were lined up. It looked like about 3:00 on Friday afternoon to get in that building.
And they were loud.
It was raucous. Yeah,
they were loud.
Raucous.
So going back to Underdog Fantasy, you can also play fantasy with the NBA with stars like South Carolinians Zion Williamson and John Morant, or my personal favorite, Jason Tatum. They're all in action tonight, so visit UnderdogFantasy.com. Register with this promo code, Sports Talk Bonus, Sports Talk Bonus, Sports Talk Bonus, and you'll claim a free pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Now, you must be 18 or older. I think Ron's 18. 19 or older in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. It is void in Colorado. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Tonight in basketball, I was going to check the schedule real quick, besides the South Carolina and Tennessee women's game, which will carry a lot of national attention. On the men's side, in the ACC tonight, you got NC State and Duke. Duke, undefeated in ACC play, able to have a back-and-forth game with Wake Forest and win it. NC State's been a bit of a disappointment, but it is a rivalry game. Be right back.
Hi, this is Billy Downer from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Are you looking for a safe place to shoot your rifle or handgun? Did you know that the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources operates 4 manned ranges across the state in Pickens County, Spartanburg County, Richland County, and Charleston County? For more information on our public ranges, visit dnr.sc.gov/shooting.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hostetler-Brown. Helping an aging loved one arrange for their care can be one of the most difficult things you will ever do. Fortunately, you don't have to navigate this maze alone. Lawyer Lisa's knowledgeable life care team can lead you down the right path. Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III, heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5. Hey, tomorrow night we'll be in Athens. Yeah, going to go over there, watch the basketball game. Why not? I love traveling for college basketball games that are within a couple of hours. Plus, I want to see where where Georgia's hiding the bags. Maybe we didn't get to go there for football this year since South Carolina didn't play Georgia. We did see Georgia and Clemson in Atlanta, but we didn't get to go to Athens. Love going to Athens, and I'm going to snoop around and see where they're keeping the duffel bags full of cash for their recruiting. Josh, why am I seeing comments here on our stream about you getting a speeding ticket? What's up with that? What's the story? Were you speeding?
No.
Come on, man. What's up with that?
Well, it's not very interesting, but
I thought you were a Gators fan, not a Bulldogs fan.
That's a good one. No,
yeah. Can we get a rim shot on that?
Yeah, I guess so.
Let's get a real quick.
Let's see if I can find it. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
Saturday morning, we have a show here at the Point, and I went over to our host. She has a farm, and I was driving her tractor, and I was going too fast. And her dad came out and yelled at me because I was going too fast on the tractor.
You were driving a tractor?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Down the street?
No.
Or just around the farm?
Just on her farm.
Oh, okay.
That's funny. All right, phone number 888-898-2525. Our text line number is 803-900-4847. We got recruiting coming up for you in the second hour. Also, some good stuff with Shane Beamer, if you haven't heard it yet, from the media gaggle with him at halftime from the basketball game on Saturday. He introduced the newcomers. And now, look, nobody did – I was thinking about this. Nobody did the football halftime basketball January junior day visit on the floor speaking to the fans thing better than Spurrier did. Now, Spurrier was he was a tactician, and he was just great at it. But, Beamer has stepped up his game and does a good job. He picked up the Palmetto Bowl trophy and held that up high and, gave it the proclamation that it was home where it belonged and showed the other two trophies the Gamecocks picked up. I got to tell you, watching Beamer and how he carries himself and how he's running his business and the way he handled his team this past season against that schedule and what they were able to do, I see absolutely no reason why they haven't found the long-term answer. The long-term answer to the head football coaching job at South Carolina. And by that I mean success. And by that I mean championships. And by that I mean getting into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that his ability to inspire his players, his ability to lead, his ability to organize, his ability to recruit. I think his sideline coaching has been good. Does he make every right decision? Of course not. Nobody does. But I think over the years that he has matured and has a greater grasp of things. I don't think he's awed by what he faces anymore. I think he has surrounded himself with an excellent staff. I think he understands and appreciates the importance of excellent special teams play. And he never stops selling. He never stops selling his program and his players. Now, if they had gone 5-7 this past season, I wouldn't be making those comments. But they went 9-4, so you can make those comments. 3 winning seasons out of 4, 3 bowl trips out of 4, 1 bowl win, but could be 3 bowl wins. Could have won all 3 of the bowl games. So just got – and, the man's – I stood next to a guy Saturday that makes $8 million a year. Think about that. How many times you stand next to a person that makes $8 million a year?
Had Sweeney been in the building, you would be looking at 2 guys who most lottery winners can't duplicate the amount of money they make.
Yeah. Yes. I just think, listen, you're going to have those years where South Carolina's got to get to, of course, is when you have those off years, it's still an 8 or 9 win year.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what they're building to. And then you'll have your 11 and 12 win years, and you'll make a deep playoff run and maybe even win a championship. I think it's reasonable now for South Carolina to talk along those lines of not only winning an SEC championship, but winning a national championship. Why shouldn't they? If they're as good as everybody says they're going to be, when you consider the quarterback returning and he likes what they've got in their running back room. They might still go take somebody out of the portal, but he's very high on the transfer they've gotten.
You're looking at a situation.
And the transfer they've gotten, and Howell returning, and Attaway returning. He thinks he's got at least three, and some of the younger guys. And, offensive line being rebuilt through the portal, and maybe some of those younger guys developing. I think the receiving room's going to be outstanding. Tight ends will be just fine. Defense should be really good once again with Dylan Stewart. Now, the question is, who's going to emerge on the other side of that defensive line so that Stewart's not double-teamed all the time? Because you couldn't double-team Kennard or Stewart, because if you double-teamed one, you're leaving it open for somebody else. They need somebody else to emerge on the other end of that defensive line. The defense should be really good. And you got to find a kicker, and you got to find a punter. That'll be something new. Got to have a new kicker and a new punter. So I think they're going to be I think preseason SEC they'll be picked upper half, maybe 5th or 6th. Heck of a place to start for them. And if they can take care of their business, they'll be right there.
Yeah, and I apologize. I lost you for a second, so I'm not sure if I actually talked over the top of you. And if so, my apologies. I'm having internet issues, obviously, over here. But the one thing I found, and I don't want to steal all of Coach's thunder for folks who haven't heard it, you'll hear this coming up shortly, but I thought one of the more noteworthy things he had to say was the fact that Nick Harbor has decided he's going to be full-time football now, at least not going to run indoor track. And I found that fascinating because here's a guy that they had to make sure that the track program was on board with him being able to play football because he wanted to run track. That was the reason, one of the main reasons he came to South Carolina. He was given both those opportunities. And you have to ask yourself, and I'm curious, is when he went to the Olympic trials, did he find out how far he's got to go to be able to make, in my mind, the most difficult athletic team in the country to make, the United States Olympic team? And I'm fascinated if he decided, you know what, I probably got a better chance at football. I hope he's not putting down his track dreams because from what we understand, he's a phenomenally talented track athlete, but it sounds like, at least for now, he's going to devote all his attention to football.
Well, I think that Mike Furrey's done a heck of a job with him, and you could really see the growth. And I think he realizes, look how far I grew last season. If I put all my time and effort into football, what can I become? Because I have those unique skills of size and speed and now hands. We'll hear from Beamer coming up.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. Republicans are cautioning that Tulsi Gabbard's path to confirmation to lead the U.S. intelligence agency is narrowing, as she seems to have trouble winning over key GOP senators. This update from correspondent Bernie Bennett.
Gabbard, along with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Kash Patel, are set for their high-stakes confirmation hearings this week as senators face some of President Trump's most controversial nominees. But it's Gabbard who appears to have the most tenuous path to confirmation as she struggles to assuage Republicans on the Senate Intelligence Committee, who will determine her fate ahead of Thursday's hearing. Gabbard can't afford to lose a single vote on the Intelligence Committee, which has a 9-to-8 party split and features 2 GOP members who are considered swing votes, Senator Susan Collins of Maine and Todd Young of Indiana. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
State lawmakers are proposing new rules for vaccine requirements.
Bills in North Dakota and Indiana seek to establish state-level versions of the vaccine injury database maintained by the CDC. New York, Virginia, Connecticut, and Mississippi have introduced bills to restore or expand religious exemptions from immunization mandates. In West Virginia, Republican Governor Patrick Morrisey issued an executive order to enable religious exemptions for the first time. Bills in Wyoming, Oregon, and Oklahoma would prohibit discrimination against people who aren't vaccinated. Jennifer King, Washington.
The Senate has confirmed billionaire investor Scott Bessent as President Trump's Treasury Secretary. Bessent has said the U.S. faces economic calamity if Congress does not renew key provisions of Trump's Tax Cuts and Job Act that are set to expire December 31st. Implementing the extension of those tax cuts will be a hallmark of his role. He also faces the delicate balancing act of cutting taxes and curbing deficits while putting forward a plan on tariffs that doesn't jeopardize growth. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Remarks during today's Holocaust remembrances ranged from cautionary to dismissive. The latest from the media line's Felice Friedson.
Members of the Iranian-backed Hamas terrorist organization are the new Nazis, according to the Israeli Prime Minister. His comments came as the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau was marked worldwide. Survivors of the Holocaust become fewer every year, with the largest number, some 123,000, living in Israel. In Germany, Elon Musk sparked outrage for attending a far-right rally and urging Germans to move beyond Holocaust guilt. The media line Simcha Pascal reports the chairman of Israel's Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial called Musk's behavior an insult to victims and a threat to democracy. Irish President Michael Higgins faced backlash for politicizing his speech. I'm Felice Friedson, Town Hall News, Jerusalem.
News and analysis at themedialine.org and townhall.com.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clearing skies, a low temperature dipping down to 36. Tomorrow, wonderful. Sunshine-filled skies, a high of 62. While on Wednesday, even better. A dose of springtime, lots of sunshine, a high temperature reaching up to 69 degrees. We're mild the rest of the week. Rain coming back on Friday afternoon. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
The Point. The Point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
And welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 of Sports Talk on this Monday night. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Josh Cohen here. Our phone number, 888-898-2525, and the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. And the text line to reach us is, of course, 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. And you can also drop us a line on both our feeds on YouTube and on Facebook.
And Twitter.
And Twitter.
X.
On X, yep. The new X is better than the XX. Isn't that always the case in life? Your newest X better than your oldest X's. Anyway, our new X is at SC Sports Now. At SC Sports Now. Feel free to give us a follow. I was going to say that our YouTube channel, feel free to give us the subscribe button push there. Appreciate that. That's at Sports Talk Media Network, and on Facebook at Sports Talk Media Network. Couple of comments coming in off the stream. Adam says, if Paris goes winless in SEC, does he go on the hot seat, and how does it give promise for next season? Losing a lot of players, and they did not do a good job in the portal, John. Hey, good call on there, Adam. Hot seat,
No, absolutely not. If he does, that's insane.
I agree. I don't think that's going to be the case. And the way it is in basketball, it's year to year. You turn your roster over if you do the right things in the portal, John, and with your high school recruiting. And remember, they've got a pretty good-looking high school class coming in, and they augment that with their needs in the offseason in the portal, John. They could have an entirely different type of team next year. And who knows?
Look at Missouri.
Exactly. And who knows who'll
Missouri
be coming
went
back.
Winless. Missouri went winless in the conference last year. They're 16-4 now, 5-2 in the league, and a very good opportunity.
And you don't know who's going to be coming back. I mean, if Colin Murray Boyles comes, if CMB comes back, Colin Murray Boyles comes back. It will certainly be I've totally lost my train here because he was dropping in and out. It certainly be a major boost for them to build around next year if he comes back for another year. You look at the rest of their roster. Davis could be back. You hope that Cam Scott hangs in there, keeps working, and gets better. I mentioned the high school class coming in. Looks very good on paper. I mean, they got this Eli Ellis kid's been lighting it up for overtime elite. Is he the answer? Now, he is a gunner. He is an absolute gunner. I just I wonder, and this is me, I don't know anything. I don't know the kid. I've never talked to the kid. I've never really seen a little bit of video on him. I'm sure he's a great kid and all this and that, and basketball is his absolute thing. It's all he really does. He's a kid that likes the basketball in his hands and likes to shoot and likes to score and likes the attention. And how's that going to work out, coming into a team? Is he going to mesh well with the older people, whoever comes back? Is he going to mesh well? Or is he going to be so good that you accept, anything that he brings to the table? Whether it's, wanting the basketball, and I don't want to say hogging the basketball, but we know that sometimes you can have sharp, shooters who like to hog the basketball. How's that going to mesh with everybody else? I think that's a key question with him, and it might just turn out to be just fine. Plus, he just got the big man Federico into the program, or Federico into the program, and you bring him along. That's another big for you, and they like him apparently. They like his skill set. And Ugasuk will be back, apparently. You say be back. That's what you kind of expect him to be back. So, I mean, they got the makings of a good team next year. And this year's team is not that far from being 3 or 4 wins in the SEC, And if you're Lamont Paris and that team and those leaders on the team, you just have to keep saying there's still time. Don't cash in your chips yet. Just take it one game at a time. Get that first win. Get that off your back. Relax and play your best basketball. So, let's see. What else here from Adam? Why haven't we played Butler? Maybe he hasn't panned out. None of our transfers really panned out. We misjudged the portal. Well, I mean, Thomas has been very good. He's not a true point guard, but he's been a good scorer for him. And, Pringle's been good. He's had his moments. He does give you rebounds. He does give you length inside. So he's been pretty good. So, any more thoughts on that?
No, I was just saying, if there's a team, and as well as they have been playing, if there's a team that you can get right against your South Carolina, it's Georgia. I mean, they have had such tremendous success over the years against the Bulldogs. Maybe it turns around tomorrow night. But as I mentioned earlier in the show, it will not turn around until the guys on the team finally decide they have had enough. Mm-hmm. Because I think this is a situation where the coaches can do only so much. But sooner or later, the leaders on that team, the guys you just referenced, they've got to finally do what football did and say, I've had enough of this. I'm tired of losing these close games. We're better than this. Heck, Colin Murray Boyles told his team after the Florida game, they're not losers. Well, I mean, you're sitting at 0-7. Then go do something about that.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned, Carolina's won 14 of 16. dating back to 2017 against Georgia. So, I mean, if there is a team on your schedule that you can get right against, maybe it's those guys tomorrow night.
All right, in Knoxville, Tennessee's jumped to a 9-5 lead, 4:55 to go in the opening quarter. Obviously, a cold shooting start for the Gamecocks. They're 2 of 8. Tennessee is shooting 53%, and Edwards already into the ball game, and Johnson have the 2 buckets for South Carolina. They are down 9-5. All right, Shane Beamer, USC football coach, got with the media during halftime of the basketball game Saturday at the Colonial Life Arena. And first question up to him was about that brand-new contract that he got from the Board of Trustees on Friday.
Extremely fortunate, very blessed, so thankful to something Coach Tanner started working on back at the end of the season, and it's been a process, so appreciate Coach Tanner and then Jeremiah coming in and jumping in as well, and Dr. Amaritas and Thad Westbrook and the Board of Trustees. Beyond grateful for their trust in me. Emily and my family, we love living here, love this state, love this community, love being a Gamecock, and just really, really excited about that and excited about the future as well.
When you were pulling cables for your dad, knowing what he was making at Murray and Virginia Tech, did you ever foresee pulling down 8?
No, I didn't, Phil. But this has been a deal where this has been a thing where I love what I do, and it doesn't feel like a job, and certainly never thought that. It's surreal, but again, it goes back to how much I love what I do, and it's not a job, and I love being here, and don't feel like I've ever worked a day in my life.
Shane, tentative dates for spring practice starting in the game. Do y'all have those set yet?
Yes, April 18th. You got to pay more attention, David, to the me getting the crowd in a frenzy out there trying to. But the spring game's actually going to be on Friday, April 18th. Did I say that right? Friday, April 18th. Just the way the calendar fell, we're going to do a Friday night game this year as well. That's also Easter weekend. So again, before people complain, we tried to do it on Friday night. I get stuff every year about having it the same weekend of the Heritage down in Hilton Head. So now you can go to the spring game on Friday night, and you can go to Hilton Head on Saturday and Sunday, and also as well. But just trying to match it up with, you have a transfer portal in the springtime. We have spring recruiting as well. The off-season program, just the way the calendar fell this year with classes starting and when classes finish, that felt like that was the best time to do it. So we're going to do it Friday, April 18th. As far as start day, I'm not sure the exact day. It's the middle of March on a Wednesday, I think is what we're doing.
19th, I believe, Coach.
19th? Steve Fink says it's the 19th, so Steve knows.
Shane, when you get a chance to come out here before the basketball crowd, show off the trophies, the newcomers, it's all part of the momentum that you're putting together a good season?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can come out there and crowd's excited and you can take 3 trophies out on the court with you that you won this season, it's a good thing. We've got a lot of recruits that are on campus today that as soon as I leave this game, we'll get back to visiting with over at the facility that I've been with all morning. Been on the road, been super busy since the bowl game and out on the road recruiting. We've got one more week on the road, but being on the road recruiting in high schools, there's a lot of excitement and energy, and then seeing that today in here as well is another example of that.
You've seen your dad, you've seen the HBC handle success. How do you handle success with your staff and your team? Is it the Shane Beamer way, or is it a combination of your previous?
I'd say it's a little bit of both, and you learn from everyone that you've been around. And for us, Reggie, it's just going to be to continue to work. We last year at this time, not many people had high expectations for us. Probably not many people thought we'd be sitting here talking about the things that we're talking about right now. But you also understand that every year is different, and certainly we want to continue to build on the momentum of last year, but understanding that also it's a new year and it's starting over and we have to replace a lot. So as far as handling success, it's not being complacent, just continuing to work and understand that every year is a new year. I mean, life comes at you fast. One of you guys in this huddle right here wrote an article last summer about, can we even be competitive in the new SEC? And then the same guy 2 weeks ago did the predictions for 2025 and has us going 10-2. So it's just one of those things that there's life comes at you fast, and you've got to understand that humility is a week away, and we're just trying to continue to work.
Bam Martin Scott, he just decided to give it up.
Yeah, Bam certainly wanted to kind of pursue it. That's something that we talked about down at the bowl game, and we wanted to pursue that. And then the more we looked into it, Phil realized it was going to be an uphill battle, and felt like it was a chance. But just with classes have already started here, when the NCAA was going to make a decision, it was just the timing was getting more and more complicated. And I think Bam, he's going to have a chance to play at the next level. He knew that. He wanted to come back, but I think he just said, you know what, I'm kind of tired of dealing with it. Let's just move on and get ready for the NFL.
How communicative was the NCAA with that situation? I know they have a lot of people who are going through the same thing.
Yeah, they do. I think they were good. It's probably a better question for compliance. I wasn't really in constant communication with compliance, or with the NCAA. Compliance was handling that, but I think they were good. I mean, it's hard to keep up with a lot of stuff with the NCAA right now, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Just recruiting calendars, it's constantly changing. But I had a couple other head coaches in college that reached out to me they have players in the same situation as Bam, and I think we were all on the same page and kind of hearing the same thing.
Shane, Nick Harbor, is he doing indoor track, or is he solely focusing on football right now?
He's solely focusing on football right now, and that was Nick's decision. That was something that he talked to us about, and we had some conversations at the bowl, or around the bowl, after the bowl, within the last couple of weeks, as far as what he wanted to do. And I think he realized that he did a lot of really good things in track last year, David, but missing spring practice, I don't want to say setting back, but it was more of a challenge to be ready for the season. And I think he just wanted to really focus on football. And not that track's over, but right now that's where his focus is just football. And again, that was his decision. That wasn't anything we told him.
Will he do outdoor track season?
Don't know that. I don't know that. He's wanting to focus on spring practice and football and developing there, and that's kind of where we are right now.
How much do you think his success?
On Jordan, I'm sorry.
How much do you think his success down the stretch last season helped him come to that decision that football?
I think a lot. He certainly played really well and made some big plays as the year went on, and got better as the year went on. There's no question about it. And I think he realizes he has a big upside, big future in football if he can continue to progress. But he also understands that there's a small window of time before your college career is over as well, and he wants to capitalize on that.
You talk to
the greatest bus drivers in all of America. Those guys right there. Thank you.
Have you and Coach Bielema talked since Orlando?
We have.
How'd it go?
It was fine. It was fine. We had a conversation, and it was very cordial, and agreed to disagree on a couple things, but it was good.
I mean, bowl games aren't supposed to get snippy like that, are they?
They're not. They're not. That's in the past, and got a lot of respect for their program and him, and they had a great season, won 10 games, and to his credit, he reached out to me a week or so after the game, and we had a good conversation, and keep that between us. But again, agreed on some things and agreed to disagree on some things as well.
The hot job right now in college football is the GM. Yeah. Would you consider Darren Usher your GM, just not with that title, or would you like to?
No, I would say that. I think it's complicated, Jordan, because everybody's like, hire a GM, just like the NFL. Well, the GM in the NFL is in charge of everything, like the whole program, and then the head coach coaches. Well, GMs in college, it's basically NIL, transfer portal, and recruiting. Well, that's what Darren does. So in my mind, yeah, he maybe doesn't have the title of GM, but the GM. I talked to a GM in the NFL today about something, and they're worried about a lot of stuff, not just what a GM in college does, if that makes sense. So yes, to answer your question, probably by title, that's what he does. But I think people are sometimes quick to throw out just the word GM and think it's just like the NFL, and it's not like the NFL.
How do you feel like you guys did from a transfer portal standpoint with this current cycle? And is there a position or positions that you feel like maybe you guys want to attack more in the spring cycle?
Yeah, I think we did a good job of it, Jack. We were very targeted as far as what we were going to try and do. You guys know this. We lost our top 4 defensive tackles, if you throw Jules in that. We lost our center. We lost both guards. We have great confidence in the young men that are in our program, but that's the heart of your offense and defense that left. So we knew that we needed to increase the depth at all those positions. And And really every position we were looking to add if they were the right fit. And I like the guys we brought in. I think we brought in guys that have upside, guys that love football. We were willing to walk away from some guys that I don't think quite fit what we were going to be about, and we figured that out during the process of trying to recruit them. But, I like where we are. I like the freshman class. A lot of these decisions that we made in regards to the portal as far as positions that we didn't pursue heavily were because of freshmen that we have on our team. Receiver. Every receiver that went in the portal, my first question to Mike Furry was, do you feel like this guy is going to be, better than the freshmen we have, or better by the end of the season than the guys we have in our program? And if the answer was no, I don't think he will be, then we didn't even pursue him. And we have a lot of excitement, a lot of belief in the young freshmen that we have. That fueled our decisions when it comes to the portal in a lot of ways. And like where we are, we still, I think we're at 84 scholarships right now, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll see what happens after spring practice and all that as well. But a lot of the decisions that we made in regards to the portal in the last month were, let's kind of give these guys on our team an opportunity here in spring practice, see where we are, and then we have a better idea with some flexibility at the end of spring practice as far as what we do next.
Do you like seeing South Carolina in these way too early top 25s and way too early top 10s? Do you enjoy that?
It beats seeing my name on like hot seat lists and not ranked. Yeah, I'll be honest. No, you do. It's one of those. You want to be at a place with high expectations. You want to be at a place where there's momentum and confidence in the team each and every year, but also understanding that none of that matters, because all these projections that people do, that you guys do, it's based on how the season went before, and usually do they return their quarterback. So everybody thought we were going to stink this year because we lost our quarterback and we went 5-7 in 23. Now everybody thinks we're going to be really good, and we have a chance to be because we return our quarterback and we won 9 games in the regular season. So no, I do like that, but it's also understanding that it's a lot of new faces. We lost a lot of really good players, but you always want to be in those preseason rankings each and every year. But also, and we've talked about it as a team, just understanding that, I went back and just showed the guys a couple weeks ago in a team meeting literally all the projections from last year, and very few of them were very good about us as well. And just understanding that, worry about what we can control, and that's just our guys working really, really hard each and every day to be the best team we can be.
What was your evaluation of Rasul Faison?
Yeah.
And how do you anticipate a competition with him and Oscar and maybe Matthew Fuller?
Absolutely. Every position we have, Jordan, there's a competition. I've told our players this. I've told the transfers, recruits. No one has been promised anything except the opportunity to compete. And when I watched Rasul, I love his story. I know a lot of you guys know his story. This is the journey he's been on to get here is pretty impressive. I'm excited for all you guys to meet these new guys soon. So I liked his story. I like what he's about as a person. And then when you watch the tape, I thought he played really, really well against some of the best teams that Utah State played last year. Utah, Southern Cal, he played really well. Yep, Boise played really well in those games. And then when you just watch his tape, I think he's got he brings a threat out of the backfield that I think we've got to do a better job of this year with running backs in the passing game, in my opinion. He brings an ability to not just run with physicality and maybe run you over, but also make you miss out in space. And so, yeah, he's got a lot of upside. We're really fired up about Oscar. He did some nice things in that bowl game. That run that he had on that 4th down was a really, really good run. Did some nice things out of the backfield. We're really fired up about Jawarn Howell. You guys saw some of that in the bowl game as well. And then Matthew Fuller, young guy that we think has a big upside as well. So that's a group, and you guys have probably heard me say it before. You need more than one. You need more than two. You need more than three. I mean, I was coaching at Virginia Tech one year, and we lost our top 4 running backs to season-ending injuries by the end of the season. So that's just a position that has a lot of wear and tear, and we want to continue to increase the competition and like that entire group, and really excited about Rasul being here.
To close the book on the Eman Wari Bowl thing, what do you plan to do to ensure that doesn't happen again? Have you thought about it? Are there things you have to do to make sure that doesn't happen again?
I haven't really dug deep on it, and if I did, I probably wouldn't tell you, Phil. Right now, I think it's just one of those that communication and I thought we had done a good job of it leading into the game, and and clearly didn't do a good enough job from a communication standpoint because there was a breakdown in there somewhere. But again, appreciate all he did for our program and the plays that he made for us this season. And I think, if everybody had to do it all over again, I think, both sides would probably handle it a little bit differently than what happened.
All right, Shane Beamer, I kicked myself too because I should have followed up with a question about, will you ask your players in the future, if you're not going to play the complete bowl game, then sit the whole thing out. Just don't quit at halftime. That would have been a good question. I failed to answer that question, but still, that's still a very puzzling thing that happened in the bowl game, especially with that particular player. That he'd be one of the. I think he might have been the absolute last one I would have thought would pull something like that.
Kai Kroger would have maybe been the other.
Yeah,
You just don't see that happening, and I don't think there was a breakdown of communication. I think Nicky Manwari unfortunately knew exactly what he was going to do, and maybe it was lack of communication on his part. I just wish these coaches would start standing up for their programs and saying it outright. These kids are making adult decisions. Well, if you make an adult decision, then you have to face the repercussions if people don't like it. I mean, if I told you, Phil, I'm only going to work half the show tonight. I'm going to get off at 7.
Actually,
or I didn't tell you.
You do that from time to time. More than we would like.
Actually, if I didn't tell you, I just showed up, worked 6 to 7, and then took off and didn't say a word and went straight, back in the den. Yeah. I don't know how much longer I'd have a job here.
Go straight back to the den.
Well, can't go to the locker room, so I go to them. But I just don't know why Beamer feels it necessary. And I get it; these coaches want to protect the players because they're afraid of repercussions from other players on down the road. But sooner or later, you've got to stand up and say, "Look, these kids are paid adults. They are paid professional athletes, and professional athletes like Jimmy Butler walked off evidently during shoot around today for the Miami Heat. Well, you know what the Heat did? They suspended him.
Yeah,
he has to face the consequences of his actions." College kids are going to have to start dealing with that because they are now paid professional athletes.
Plus, he probably got hit with a pretty good fine. If he hasn't yet, he will.
I would agree.
Now he makes how much money has Jimmy Butler made in his career? He's not going to miss a $100,000 fine or a fine.
No,
he wants out of Miami at the worst, and he is, and he wants to be traded before the trade deadline, and he's just going to push the envelope. And if they hadn't already decided to trade him, they're definitely going to trade him now with these antics he's been pulling. If they can get what they want back for him, I would think Jimmy Butler would still command a pretty good return. He's still a good player. All right. South Carolina and Tennessee. Second quarter, Tennessee still hanging to a lead of 15-13. And they're only shooting 22%. South Carolina's shooting 40%. But Tennessee is winning on the boards. And on the offensive glass, they've already gotten 6 offensive boards. And we'll be back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clearing skies, a low temperature dipping down to 36. Tomorrow, wonderful. Sunshine-filled skies, a high of 62. While on Wednesday, even better. A dose of springtime, lots of sunshine, a high temperature reaching up to 69 degrees. We're mild the rest of the week. Rain coming back on Friday afternoon. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
The Point.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting the Senate has confirmed billionaire investor Scott Bessent as President Trump's Treasury Secretary. Bessent has said the U.S. faces economic calamity if Congress does not renew key provisions of Trump's Tax Cuts and Job Act that are set to expire December 31st. Implementing the extension of those tax cuts will be a hallmark of his role. He also faces the delicate balancing act of cutting taxes and curbing deficits while putting forward a plan on tariffs that doesn't jeopardize growth. U.S. public health officials have been told to stop working with the World Health Organization effective immediately. The surprise decision is focused on the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. A CDC official sent a memo to senior leaders at the agency on Sunday night, telling them that all agency staff who work at the WHO must immediately stop.
Lots of plumbing companies out there. Few are truly local. Time to discover the difference with Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. See, when I faced plumbing woes at the Cohen home, Josh and his dedicated team, well, they were my go-to solution. They make a commitment to exceptional service. They arrived on time, clearly detailed all the costs and procedures, and efficiently handled all my repairs without any surprises. These days, how often do we complain about a lack of customer service out there? With Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, these folks are professional. They're courteous. They're skilled at what they do, and they've earned my trust, and they've earned my recommendation to you. From urgent repairs to the tankless water heater you've always wanted, they've got you covered. Visit franklinplumbing.sc.com or call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Hey, you tell them Kev sent you from The Point. I'm pretty sure you'll want to thank me later.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
Get ready to transform your home with All Southern Construction. Imagine sipping tea on your new deck as the Carolina sun sets, or enjoying a cozy evening in a screened-in porch designed just for you. Our locally owned and insured team prioritizes cleanliness and professionalism while ensuring your dream addition becomes a reality. Discover more at allsouthernconstruction.com or speak with us directly. Call 206-4816. Let's build something beautiful together. allsouthernconstruction.com.
Discover the seamless blend of comfort and style with Lexington Discount Homes. With over 30 years of excellence in the housing industry, our focus is on delivering your dream home with unparalleled customer service. Explore a variety of designs tailored to meet any preference and budget. Drop by our showroom at 1847 Augusta Highway to witness the craftsmanship of a Lexington home firsthand, or explore online through a comprehensive virtual tour at LexingtonDiscountHomes.com. Choose comfort, choose style, choose Lexington Discount Homes.
Do you crave growth for your business? That's where The Point comes in. Fran Halloran here. Kevin Cohen and the other local hosts like me have worked to create a space where listeners transform into family. Are you a local business aiming for the stars? You need to get with Kevin and let him help create an individualized blueprint for your growth using the influential stage of The Point Radio. Reach out directly at 563-8558. Teaming with The Point, make this year extraordinary.
Heading down south to the land of the pines. I'm thumbing my way into North Carolina, staring up the road and pray to God I see headlights. I made it down the coast in 17 hours, picking me a bouquet of dogwood flowers, and I'm hoping for Raleigh I can see my baby tonight. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama.
Yeah, you see, that's not going to get you in any trouble if you play that inside an arena. That's a happy song. Happy, happy, happy. Not going to make anybody mad, I don't think. All right, welcome back. In Knoxville, the tune is, well, the Gamecocks have just taken the lead. I was going to say the tune has not been joyful for the Gamecocks up until this point. They've just taken their first lead of the game at 21-20, 5:36 to play in the first half. Tennessee had as much as a 9-point lead. They were up 14-5. Gamecocks have come back 21-20. Edwards off the bench. She's got 9 points, 3 rebounds. Yeah, Dawn Staley said the other day that she'll be the best player in the country.
I don't think it's going to be wrong.
Yeah. McDaniel's got 4 points. off the bench. Full Wiley's got 3 off the bench. The starters have not given them many points. Pow's got 3, and Johnson's got 2. No other starter has scored to this point. Meantime, Tennessee's, they run 10 players out there at you. Got a very deep bench. And
for no reason, evidently. Because they don't score.
Well,
they have 0 bench points.
Yeah, you're right. They're only shooting 23%. They're 7 of 31. They've had 9 more shots from the Gamecocks. They've only hit 1 3. They're 5 of 5 from the line. They've only turned it over 6 times, but they do have 20 rebounds to 15, including 8 off the offensive board. I wonder if that's going to be a factor for South Carolina somewhere down the road, because they've been getting beat on the offensive or their defensive glass quite regularly here by these teams. But Tennessee's only turned those offensive rebounds, those 12, make that 8 offensive rebounds. They've only got 2 second chance points. So they're missing a bunch of layups. That's what you see, of course. I hate to say it. I'm not being anything. I'm just giving an observation. Women's basketball, high school, college, they miss a lot of layups. And we saw that with Texas, saw that with LSU, and seeing it now with Tennessee. They're getting the offensive glass. They just can't stick it back.
You win a lot of games in the women's game if you make layups and make free throws.
Mm-hmm. No question about it. 24-20 at the media timeout. No, it's a Tennessee timeout. 24-20, South Carolina, 4:46. The Gamecocks on a 7-0 run. They're shooting 45%.
And Phil, to answer your question about rebounding, they got beat on the backboards by 9 in the game they did lose to UCLA. So
Yeah. I wonder if that is going to be a problem for them when it gets down to the money games here coming up in March. That they run in the second or third rounds, and they run across somebody who's going to rebound it and really well, and make their stickbacks. Duke and State
actually
is not
7. I beg your pardon, by UCLA, not 9.
Duke and State, they tip off at 8:30. Southern Miss and Troy. Troy's up 65-41. Penn State leading Michigan 40-37, and we have South Alabama and Monroe. South Alabama up 8-7. Who's the best team in the Sun Belt by far? Who is?
I thought it was Arkansas State early in the season. It's funny you mentioned South Alabama. Those games, the reason they're playing tonight is because Mobile got about a half a foot of snow.
Yeah.
That, which never happens last week, so they had to postpone those games. But South Al going into this weekend was actually the front runner in the Sun Belt. They were 6-1, I believe it was. So, yeah, they've had a really, really good year. They're interesting. Richie Riley, a former Cliff Ellis disciple, actually they run a matchup zone. They play a lot like Syracuse used to under Jim Boeheim. You rarely see that anymore. So I think it gives teams fits, especially on the short turnaround that you sometimes have in the Sun Belt where you play on a Thursday and then turn around and have to play again Saturday. If you catch them on the backside of that doubleheader, it can be difficult because it's not something you see all that often anymore.
All right, recruiting coming up in a second. Leading into that, McDonald's All-America rosters announced today, and South Carolina women's signee Ayla Ayla McDowell was named to the McDonald's All-American game, a member of the girls' West team. So Ayla, we'll go with Ayla McDowell, South Carolina signee from out in California, I believe, makes the West squad for the McDonald's All-American game. Speaking of recruiting, time to get at it.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
Come on, Josh. You got to be on your toes with the corn. Sometimes you just don't follow the script. Sometimes we go off script. You know, Tom Cruise, for example, he will go off script. So it made him a great actor. You ever watch Jerry Maguire? Never saw Jerry Maguire. He probably went off script on that. You ever watch Top Gun. You ever watch Top Gun? You watch Top Gun? Well, he probably went off script a couple of times. We do it here on Sports Talk. Corn, Bergie, we go off script sometimes. You have to be prepared. It's your job.
I was prepared, just a couple seconds behind.
Thinking ahead. Well, a couple of seconds. Do you know in NASCAR how much pavement a couple of seconds amounts to?
I'm sure there's a lot.
So, like, you just finished half a lap behind because you were a couple of seconds off.
I don't know about that.
Depending on the track.
At Bristol, you may actually be a half lap behind.
Yeah, really.
This isn't Bristol.
What is it?
Sports Talk.
It's Bristol, baby.
Darlington.
It's Bristol, baby.
Darlington. I'm ready for some NASCAR, and it's coming. It's coming fast.
We had the Rolex over the weekend if you're really jonesing for some racing. The Rolex 24 down at Daytona.
Was that this past weekend?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who won?
I have no idea.
When I worked in Spartanburg, there was a team. There was a team, a Formula, not Formula One. I guess it was like an IndyCar team. One of those teams that raced back then it was the 24 Hours of Daytona. What was his name? Very famous driver. I can't remember. It's been a long time ago. But we used to have him on. We used to interview him all the time. He and his team. They would go and compete in that thing and do well. All right, our recruiting.
Phil, I have a hard time watching 300 laps at Darlington. There's no way I'm going to sit and watch 24 hours of racing at Daytona.
I think it's so cool. 3 a.m, turn on the television. There they are with their headlights on and going through the night. I think that's so cool. Recruiting is brought to you by Seawells, and they'll be back at it tomorrow with the daily luncheon buffet.
No menu yet.
Nah, they're working on the menu. Going to be a surprise, going to be a big week on the menu front. Stay with us here on Sports Talk. We will break the news on the Seawells menu for you coming up. But you can always find out yourself by going online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. And if you need the very best in the catering business, just call Seawells at 803-771-7385. Got a lot to talk about off the weekend. Quarterback Brady Smigel of Newberry Park, California. South Carolina right in the middle of things with him. He's a highly regarded quarterback. He decommitted from Florida State yesterday, something his dad had told us they were sort of heading in that direction as they made plans to take other visits. And, you know, we've told you about the history between Smigel and USC and the connections. And so South Carolina firmly in the mix here. Other schools, Washington, UCLA, Michigan, Michigan State, and Ohio State has now come into the picture after he got a visit last week from offensive coordinator Chip Kelly. USC recruiter Joe DeCamillis paid a visit to Mandarin High School in Jacksonville this month, taking a look at defensive tackle Brian Harris, 6'2", 285, who has been committed to Maryland since August. He recommended him to defensive tackles coach Travian Robertson, who reviewed the film. And he talked to the player and to his defensive coordinator, and he offered him last week. And Harris visited South Carolina this past weekend. And Chris, I tell you what, I don't think I've ever talked to a more personable, friendly, and long-winded recruit in all my life. He began the conversation with me by asking me how my family was.
Oh, you're kidding.
I kid you not. And I said, well, you know what? That's a first. Blah, blah, blah. And I said, he goes, yeah, I do that in all conversations. My parents taught me to ask how
yes, they did.
The family was, or the person I was talking with. So a very friendly player and a very good player, good defensive tackle. I'm not going to give you all the quotes. It's on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, if you want to read the story. But he loved his visit to South Carolina, suffice it to say. He loves Robertson. He loved everything that he saw at South Carolina. He really took a lot away from Derek Moore, who spoke to the recruits and left a very strong message with him. He enjoyed his visit with Shane Beamer and said he shares the same dream that Beamer has for South Carolina, etc. So the Gamecocks will be in the hunt here. He plans to return for the spring game. And he's going to go to Florida February 1st, and then he's going to come back for an official visit to South Carolina in the summer. Other offers are NC State, West Virginia, FAU, FIU, Arkansas State, and Duke. He missed 3 games this past season. He still had 32 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 9 quarterback pressures, 7 pass deflections, and 3 forced fumbles. Clemson target defensive end Dre Quinn of Norcross, Georgia, was offered by Texas today. Tigers coach Dabo Swinney was in for a visit today. Defensive ends coach Chris Rumph visited Quinn last week. Quinn went to Tennessee Saturday. USC target quarterback Jared Curtis of Nashville had an in-home today with North Carolina coach Bill Belichick. USC coach Shane Beamer, secondary coach Torian Gray visited cornerback Smoke Matthews in Cornelius, North Carolina today. Offensive tackle Zion Giles of Carvers Bay did not make it to USC Junior Day Saturday because he was at a camp event in North Carolina. He plans to take visits to USC, Clemson, Auburn, Georgia, and Alabama at some point. No dates have been set. Clemson coach Dabo Swinney, offensive line coach Matt Luke were in last week, as were coaches from Alabama. This week, he's expecting Beamer and offensive line coach Lonnie Teasley this week. Also Tennessee, Georgia, and Auburn he's expecting in this week. He's expecting Kirby Smart to be in among those coaches. Has not scheduled officials, but he'll do so with USC, Clemson, Georgia, and Auburn. Defensive end Andrew Harris, 6'2", 225. Twin brother defensive tackle Aiden Harris, 6'4", 255. Weddington, North Carolina, were among the prospects at South Carolina Saturday. They are considered to be top prospects nationally at their respective positions. They have major offers across the country. Clemson, USC in the top 12 with offensive tackle Carter Scruggs of Leesburg, Virginia. The others are Alabama, Michigan, Penn State, Georgia, Miami, Virginia Tech, Southern Cal, Oregon, Oklahoma, and Penn State. Others who were in at South Carolina Saturday: receiver Ryan Mosley, Carrollton, Georgia; running back Carson Baker, Fairburn, Georgia; defensive end Rodney Dunham of Charlotte; tight end Tilden Riley, Orangeburg Prep. In the 27 class, offensive tackle Kelsey Adams, Riverdale, Georgia. He was offered by South Carolina. Offensive tackle Jordan Dillon of Savannah. He was offered by South Carolina. Linebacker Jalathan Mayfield, Lincolnton, North Carolina. Isn't that your hometown?
Yes, it is. What high school?
Don't know.
Okay.
Receiver,
there are several in the county now.
Receiver Christian Jackson, Ridgeview. Cornerback Emerson Lewis of Savannah. Cornerback Davian Jones of Charlotte. Offensive tackle Joshua Pell of Douglasville, Georgia. Let's see, what else? USC defensive ends coach Sterling Lucas Friday visited with defensive end Zion Ely of Baltimore. He's highly regarded. He's a Maryland commitment. Sweeney and Mickey Kahn from Clemson Friday checked in on safety Kentavian Anderson of Dorman. Running back Jalen McGill of Mountain View Prep committed to Rutgers Saturday. While on a visit, he was at Madison Square Garden when he made his commitment to Rutgers. 1,658 yards, 24 touchdowns last season. Defensive end Kamari Brooks of Bogart, Georgia. Down to a final three: Clemson, Georgia, Alabama. Northwestern safety Tamarian Watkins, offered Friday by North Carolina and Alabama. Women's basketball, South Carolina in the final three with 6'1", Agot McKeer of Toronto, with UConn and Michigan State. 2026 6'3", Olivia Edwards of Tacoma, Washington, was in for a visit to USC for the LSU game, and she has them in the top 10. All right, there you go with recruiting, brought to you by Seawells. Be sure to check it out on our X. We don't do hashtags anymore, but you can do a search for ST Recruiting. That will take you right to our post here. Yeah, what you got?
First off, the Mayfield kid is actually at my former high school, Lincoln High.
Well,
so
that's
good
big.
for him. He's a Wolf. And the kid I've been meaning to ask you, the kid from Weddington, North Carolina, he played at the same high school that Will Shipley played?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yep. All right, we're going to hear from Brad Brownell after the break.
Mike here from my good friend Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage. Let's face it, it's been a rough go for mortgage rates the last couple of years. And now more than ever, you need someone on your side to get you the very best possible rate on a new mortgage or a refi. That's where Troy comes in. 27 years of experience working for you. Conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, renovation, rehabilitation loans, all doable with my man Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage. And when I say doable, I mean the best best possible rate that's out there. It's a phone call that can literally save you thousands of dollars. 803-238-0111. 803-238-0111. You can also check out the website ggmortgage.com.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I'm not a case manager. I'm a lawyer for over 35 years. I don't charge 40% for your injury in your wreck case or any on-the-job injury. Call 803-765-2968 and ask for Jim Corbett or email me, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com, for the experience of a lawyer handling your injury case. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968. jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Put 35 years of experience to work on your injury case.
I walk a lonely road, the only one that I have ever known. Don't know where it goes.
All right, USC women, a 22-12 second quarter. They lead Tennessee at the break, 35-26. Clemson off this week. Well, they'll play on Saturday, but off here on the midweek, and they can rest up and get healthy. That was on the mind of Brad Brownell today on the ACC conference call.
Does it feel like maybe this week off is coming at the right time for you guys?
Yes, it does. Obviously, we've had some sickness go through our team here all last week. And then, we've got some guys that are just beat up physically. Shefflin's been a warrior, but, he's battling some back spasms and stuff. And the wear and tear of a long season, it's probably good for us mentally as well. So, yeah, we're taking a couple of days off for sure. We took off Sunday and Monday. We'll get back in the gym a little bit tomorrow, but yes, it's a good time for us.
I'm curious if I could get maybe some of your deeper insight into Chauncey and his development, into what you want as a well-rounded player, particularly the things you've, wanted to see more of around the rim, more aggression, I guess, using his size and all that.
Yeah, well, he's obviously playing both the wing and the 4 spot for us this year, so he's naturally around the rim a little more this year than he has been in the past. So early in his career, he was primarily a 3-point jump shooter and perimeter player. And one of the things that I've always said about Chauncey that I really like about him is, he's got a good basketball mind, and he he wants to learn the game, and he can learn multiple positions. He's learned multiple positions for a couple years now. This year he's had to guard 3s, 4s, and 5s. He's played the 3, 4, and a little bit of the 5 on offense occasionally. And so just continuing to build his game closer to the basket on both ends, rebounding, shot blocking, finishing at the rim, scoring in the low post. Just, that's just something that he really didn't do before he came to Clemson. And he had so much to learn at a young age, and he really didn't do as much of that as a young player here. But now this year he's been thrust into that role, and he's ready for it, and he's starting to produce, very, I would say pretty consistently, he's starting to do more things around the basket area for us on both ends, and it's really helped our team.
When you further dove into the Virginia Tech film, I'm curious what your assessment was of how the offense operated, especially without Chase Hunter for a good part of that game.
Yeah, I thought we did some good things. Good mix to our game, which is what we're looking for. Chase is one of those guys that can sometimes bail you out of a bad possession by, jumping up and making a shot or making a play for you. And, without having that, we had to do some other things. I thought Dell Jones was really good down the stretch. He made some good plays off the bounce. But I thought we did a nice job of moving the ball, staying patient, reading some things within the game off pick and roll and dribble handoff stuff. I thought we got the ball inside enough. I just thought we played a pretty sharp game, and had a good mix in terms of different guys scoring.
Brad, at the risk of jinxing you, you are on pace to be the best three-point shooting team you have ever had, be it at Clemson, Wright State, or Wilmington. Did this roster strike you as one capable of that in preseason?
I thought we had some good shooters for sure, and I thought that Chase would shoot the ball much better this year than he did last. To be the best that we've had, probably not. But I don't really, in the preseason go about thinking of things like that. I just knew that we had a bunch of guys that we felt like could make threes, and and certainly have recruited that way for a while. And I'm happy that we're shooting the ball well. I think it's important for us.
And as the season progresses and you find that your team is shooting it well, how do you then as a coach adjust schematically in terms of what kind of actions you want to run?
Yeah, I think I'm more about having good possessions. I'm still old school enough that I like posting the ball. I like playing in the paint. I get all the analytics, and we certainly pay attention to them. And, because we have guys that can make threes, we're certainly shooting, I think 40% or 41% of our shots are threes, which is great as long as they're good shots. And a good shot is going to be different for Chase Hunter than it's going to be for some other guys. And so we just talk about reading the game, taking what the defense gives. Some games it's going to be shoot 28, 33. Some games it might be shoot 16 to 18. It's whatever the game is. We talk to our guys a lot about making the right basketball play and trying to teach them what that is, and then get him to make those decisions in the heat of battle. And that's more how I look at it.
Brad Brownell from the conference call today, ACC. They do a great job with that on Mondays, continues to promote their league. Can't believe it. The SEC doesn't do anything like that, Chris.
Well, as good as that league is right now, you would think they'd want to be on air as often as possible. But to our point earlier when we were talking about South Carolina, maybe trying to be a more inside-oriented team, I think Brad Brownell's right. I mean, they're sitting 13th nationally, shooting almost 40% from three-point range. When you're good from the outside, the three-point shot is obviously your friend.
Live with it if you can make them. But if you're clangers, try something else. We'll see you tomorrow from Athens.